our worlds are full of people, like, and this wisdom that I come here to experience is seemingly nowhere else.
It seems that way. For many, it does seem that way. Because it is that way for them. Mm-hmm. But this wisdom is the potential of every spirit soul. Mm-hmm. Every being, so to speak. Every unfolding being, every human being. Yeah. Mm. For those who can go deep enough into themselves, so to speak, to explore the deepest spaces within them. Or, as the yogis would say, the higher planes of consciousness. It's a hard journey, no doubt. But very few dare to go. Yeah? Very few dare to leave their karma, well, let's say, their blood circuit, their comfort zones, their BS world, their prison of suffering, their so-called presumed limit of intelligence. Once gone beyond, there is the possibility of exploring other levels of consciousness. We are all the levels of consciousness, but who gives a damn? Who cares? Most people love the toilet level of consciousness. The ooh, poo level of consciousness. That's it. Or the bedroom level of consciousness. That's it. That's heaven for them. Nothing higher than that. Or lower than that. We're talking now about the realm of the waste organs. The organs of waste. Those ridiculously exalted organs of pleasure. Release. As if that were the God itself. All there was, or all there is. But it's not. Has never been. For travelers of the spiritual planes. So there are planes to travel, get through. First recognize. And then prove to oneself they exist and where one's experience is within those levels. And there are too many to name. But again, for those who are gravitationally controlled, materialistically, let's say, centered, it's not very much beyond that until there's a breakthrough. Must be a breakthrough. A breaking open or a breaking down. Any which way can work for you to get beyond your imprisonment. Your self-barrier. Your refusal of mystery. Your acceptance of slavery. Being whipped by karma.
So, you said those who dare to experience other levels of consciousness. It seems like in many cases, their existence is theoretical at best. And it's maybe not even a question of daring, of bravery, of a question of whether or not to experience it. It's an absence of conscious awareness completely. Right? Could that be the case?
Well, there's no question about the fact that people are born into ignorance. And they are, by nature, conformed to a culture of ignorance, a culture of unenlightenment, which we could also say is the norm for most people. The norm. Slavery is the norm. Mastery is the exception. Some of us are born with the impulse towards liberation from an early age. And we struggle to get to that place where we know we and the liberation impulse are one. And we look around us and we say, no, it's not Grandpa. No, sorry, Gramps, it's not you. What you do is not what it is, Grandpa. Or uncle, or cousin. And none of that works. It's all self-reflecting, it's all self-limiting. It's not liberating. It's not the impulse to get beyond yourself as such. Your addiction to people for whatever reasons is not the impulse to get beyond yourself. It rather is the impulse to bond yourself with others and thus suffer the agonies of bondage. Unrecognized, ill-perceived, wrongly judged bondage. In terms of, oh, this is a good time. This is a fun time. And a life of that, bouncing off the wall of self-limitation. Who benefits from that? Do you? So it's life in the coffin, or worse, in the cemetery of life and death, psychic and spiritual death. No one needs it. But many believe it as the real. So it is. Until it disappears or is shattered. See, as the nightmare it is, the dream, the bad dream it is. When that time comes, you'll know it. And you might have a recognition that the impulse of liberation has finally dawned, and there's nothing more important. Not woman, not a man, not family, not bicycle, not cars, not moolah, not work, not the muscles, no muscles, no face, nothing more important than liberation. Spiritual practice is the highway to the higher ground of peace, clarity, happiness, joyousness, balance, harmony, good karma. But way before that, on the lower end of things, on the end of ignoring things, refusing to see things and peeps for what they are, You are your worst enemy. You refuse to use your nose properly. You don't want to smell the stink, see, that the people bring you. See? Because you're involved with glamour. You want to see it. It looks good, nice. Oh, wow. Appearances. Egoic appearances. Talk. See? BS. That's the enemy. That's what you need to throw out of your midst, out of your house, out of your mind, out of your heart and body and soul. BS, darkness. You should be able to do it on the spot as soon as you smell it. But do you? How many years does it take you to figure out a smell? the scent of putridity, rot, and garbage. Way overdue for the dump. Right? Rather you let it fester and collect until you can't stand it. It's like having 50 bags of garbage in a room, right? Where one bag is enough. And you don't want to see it, but everybody else sees it and smells it more than you do. For some reason, you want to be asleep to it. You have to wake up to what it is, clean it out. Then you have potential. Then you have what is truly yours rather than someone else's. You have misidentified it's yours. Clean it up. Throw it out. Liberate yourself. Then you can be of service to others. From the inside out, where there's uplift. Yeah. And sweetness, fragrance. Because the inner has been cleansed, purified. And peace is allowed to rise as a fragrance, as a healer, a healing. Make the way necessary for this to happen. Clear the way. Let spiritual practice rule your life, not your social BS. And self-deceiving games and programs. Try it. It's good. Find out for yourself. Phew. Many seek for the Spirit, but they push it away. They don't let it in. A lot of people want the Spirit, whatever that is, but they push it away. They don't let it in. They don't know how it works. So everybody talks about their spirit, this, spirit, that, the spiritual this, spiritual that, but where is it? What is it? When I get together with the musicians, which is like a musical seance of sorts, we don't say where it is. We know it's coming. It's going to be present. And that our receptivity makes it so. Our openness to it makes it so. Our egolessness makes it so. Our innerness makes it so. Maybe our innocence makes it so.
It
So-
is.
Good.
It is already. The difference between preparing to play and playing is what?
We're talking about ego and no ego is what? Who plays? Ego is what we're talking about. The barrier to what it is. Self-limit to what it is. It's not about just music, it's about how you interact with you. How you interact with your peeps. Your river of blood circle of tests, trials, and errors. And how you succeed in that. See? How you survive that. How you overcome that. How you master that. How you transcend that. So that disappears. And you have no more complaints because you don't create complaints. You have no more weird people coming around because you don't create that. You don't create enemies. And there won't be any. We're not saying they don't exist. We're not denying reality in the karmic world at all. We're saying they're planes of consciousness. People understand what you can create via, through, or with planes of consciousness, intelligence, see, and movement from plane to plane rather than from jerk peep to other jerk peep, to other fooled peep, to other confused peep, and all these people that are needing medication or healing. Maybe not even know it. Because they're so self-indulged, self-involved with the ego level of interaction that they can't perceive it beyond that. Some schools may in fact admit that you may need to desire realization for it in any way to show up. Enough to make a difference. So you see, you're living in this dark pain world, and then all of a sudden, it's gone, you're breathing. It's light, it's like, whew, it's like coming out of a dark tunnel, all of a sudden you see the light, and wow! Brilliant! And you forget about the darkness, like in a split second. It doesn't exist anymore. You wake up beyond it. So the desire for it is what is practiced. It is what is cultivated in certain trainings throughout the world. But you want to be free. So the freedom is almost prayed for, begged for. See? Not as a fantasy, but as a fact that you lost contact with it in you. You know it's there. But you lost contact with it. It's like an old memory. You know you experienced it, but you can't remember too much about it. You know it's there because you lived through it. Because you were a child, so you know, you don't remember a lot. See, it's buried. See? This impulse is also buried. People think about it and say, oh, I have it. It's the impulse of liberation. That's what it is. Say, no, that's what you think it is. You may believe that's what it is, but that's not what it is. The impulse of liberation is not the impulse of liberation. Yeah. Although it may be called that. Because it's called that, that's not what it is. kind of like saying, hey, there's a way, way, way out there. We just said that language. But the intuition is that there is a way, 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 way out there. So the basis for the language is obvious, but it doesn't access the experience exactly. Similarly, the realization is way, 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 way in there, so to speak, out there and even here. But there's no link to it that gives you what it is in full, or in truth, or in spirit, until it happens.
And it seems like that dissolves everything.
It seems like it. That's all it does.
It appears.
It appears. It just appears. Right? Right? Right. It dreams itself. It imagines itself. And maybe to counter your meditation on all this garbage in the form of social confusion, which comes back to haunt you, and maybe not everybody else in the same way. Because maybe not everybody else needs to come to a place like this for reflection, insight, penetration, purification. Or practice. Waking up. See, this practice extends from, let's say, the normal conduct of practice, which has to do with shamatha training, calmness training, breathing training, and sound training. These are like the basic practices for the yogis. Others go into hatha yoga and they try to bring that to their body's purificational requirements. No problem. Others bring that to bhakti yoga and they apply it here from the heart relative to their devotion. Devotion to the guru, to the gurus, to the saints, to all the wonder workers throughout the world that heal other peeps, that bring heart healing. Others go higher and they bring it up to higher chakra, where there's maybe Gyan and Raja Yoga experience up there. Wisdom realization. And transcendent realization beyond that. But despite that, with all due respect to those explorational dynamics of the human consciousness relative to the spiritual side of things, there are those who need to work from the music, and I work from the music. I bring this practice to the music and the musicians. Not personally or directly. They have to come here. They have to know what it is, and then they come here and ask questions. I don't bring it out to the public and start dropping it on people. It doesn't happen that way. But it's imprinted in the music. The whole universal aspect of this is imprinted in the music. Listen to it. If you can. Now, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it's compared often to Coltrane. And you've played with Coltrane's band for the most part, I think. And...
do you understand why I would play with the Coltrane band?
Yeah, that energy, that push for freedom. I think some people call it a seeking impulse. Rashid Ali said something like that. And I was playing with some of the latest, last Coltrane records. I can't remember which. Impressions, Meditation, one of those. And... as an experiment, I was listening to and engaging with Coltrane's playing as if I was, sitting with him, trying to be entirely open to what he was saying, what he was praying, what he was playing as and from. And, deep, powerful. And I switched over to Tathagata guitar and did the same thing. And those words that I used to describe Coltrane's playing didn't really apply. It was a different experience. It was one of almost being burned up, not even having a chance to play with and engage with and have back and forth with. It was just to be there was to not be there.
You experience the sense of the fire I speak about. Right? It's palpable, it's real. But it's not accessible to everybody in the same way. See? It's already burnt up. See? It's the already burnt up. See? Being present as peace. So you prove it to yourself by your drum playing, and your link to it. See, in sound, and this your sensing is beyond that. It is. That's why I call it and describe it as heart fire sound, because it's beyond sound. Part of a mystical process. Some, maybe few musicians have any true access to. Because it transcends everything they're doing, have ever done and will ever do. It has nothing to do with self. Thought or mind, or world as we know it. And this is part of the practice here. So you came here, when you were here, back in the day, as friends of yours encouraged you to do, to see for yourself. To hear for yourself and then to know for yourself. So that ultimately you can be for yourself. See? True to this practice.
I finally listened to Divine Radiance carefully, which is, I think, one of your most visible CDs, albums that you've released publicly.
You mean with the superstars on it?
Yeah. And
the super jazz stars.
yeah, they're there.
With Paul Schaefer too. Super rock star.
And I was commenting on the breadth of experience that encompasses, from the very sweetest, most beautiful melody, fatherhood, all the way to Divine Radiance, which is kind of like immaculate chaos almost.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, it's
It's peace. It's actually peace.
Yeah.
It's unheard peace. It's unhearable peace. Yeah. And the chaos you speak of is your mind.
Well, I didn't experience it in a negative way. It was just...
Whether you experience it negatively or not, it's chaos. See, your perception is chaos. See? Or your perception could be like pure peace.
Immaculate.
Calm and healing.
Yeah.
Healing, just healing. No chaos. It's just gone. Beyond chaos.
Yeah, in one sense, it's peace the whole way through. It's just said many different ways, kind of like when we sit and I ask questions. The answer is consistent, but said, appropriately for the moment.
Mm. Mm. Music, the teaching, and the practice are the same. You've seen that demonstrated, you being intensely involved in all dynamics of the work here. So that you can say you've proven it to yourself, beyond any doubt, that it is what it is, as a reality it's here to represent and speak from, and or share with other beings, those who have ears, those who have eyes, and those who have hearts. As you were saying.
It seems like your realization itself
Reality, yeah.
is what takes care
What's
of.
real to me? Go ahead. Yeah, that's really what you're saying. What's
Yeah.
real to me? Yeah, good.
It is the force and the wisdom and the actor, the impulse, that lifts up the band, that clears a room, that
Yeah, it does what it has to do, man. Right. And it does what it has to do because there's nobody doing it, so it doesn't fail. It doesn't work. It doesn't work from a thought or a fear. See? It doesn't work from a sound. See? So far beyond it, it doesn't know those things. It recognizes a conversation about it, but it doesn't come from that. It may just as well come from Venus or Uranus, or Neptune. And from there, happily represent its reality, fearlessly to whoever can hear it. Has nothing to do with human nature, except that it's here to heal it. And it does do that.
Those that feel the compulsion to think their way through things, to know things from their perspective. I don't know how to put it anymore. Clearly, to know things via their self-involvement. I guess my question is that a valid reality for them, and for how long?
Baby must take its first step. It learns from that. Humans are taking first steps, baby steps. We hope they can learn from that. As long as we are, or you are, well, humans are, right, in the midst of warfare of the nature of what it is on Earth, you separate yourself. Humans separate themselves. We can say we, as a race, separate ourselves from all that is good. Because we're made of all that is good. But we're not living as we should, as all that is good. We still can, and some of us do, as much as we can, to keep the good with us and around us with our people. Or, art. Baby steps. Self is baby step. Thinking is baby step. You're still looking through a telescope. Telescopic lens. Helpful, useful, and a crucial step along the way.
And to linger too long in a step that we don't need anymore. I guess
It's unfortunate for the lingerer, because you're running out of time. See? In other words, you may have a bad sense of your own time. And what's real? What's at stake? What's at risk for you? Spiritually, humanity. How much time can you afford to lose? That's precious heartbeat, brainwave, see? Blood pulse, experience of living, space. You can't because you're willing to be you can't. You can because you're willing to be you can. See, do it. The human condition is a condition of potential. The potential of power, the potential of intelligence, the potential of grace and mercy, love, potential of peace and wisdom. The potential of peace on earth, all weapons down, all hearts up. All spirits up, hands up, raised to heaven. It's a gesture of completion. Well done. Potential. Higher purpose. Heart mission. Interplanetary heart mission. Not merely cultural hatred, say, born of self-hatred, born of ignorance and frustration, poverty of spirit.
You are neither an ordinary musician or an ordinary guru. You're not one who knows in the ordinary sense. You're not one who communicates in an ordinary way. It seems like your consciousness is well, extraordinary and very, very quiet, but at the same time thunderous, brilliant. What it seems to resonate with in my case is not something I've ever encountered before, either in the music or with anybody else. It doesn't bring up problems. It doesn't create complication. It seems to resolve silence, burn away, so that you share this deep peace and this quiet is really remarkable and a profound gift.
It's about practice. The basis of practice is peace. The meditation on practice is peace. The result of practice is peace. So that the conduct of practice is also peace. From this peace arises light, spiritual light, and sound, spiritual sound. Properly perceived, presents the all-powerful absence of itself. The heart is the universe. The universe is the heart.